Everyone was silent when they saw Magnus explode into pieces. They stood there frozen in place with absolute horror on their faces. They looked like they'd seen a ghost. Many of them even wondered if they were dreaming. If this wasn't a dream, how can such a thing happen? That was Magnus, the lead disciple of Skycrane, and a genius sword master from Yustin. He was strong enough to defeat all the disciples of Azure Mist single-handedly. How could a nobody like Dustin overpower someone of that level? No, he wasn't even overpowered. Dustin's punch shattered him on the spot. Just a single punch from him had shattered both Magnus and his sword. He had been so thoroughly destroyed that nothing remained. Was he even human? He must be a monster. How could this be? Magnus died. Looking at all the blood on the ground, the disciples of Skycrane looked defeated. They trembled, and their eyes were filled with shock. It was hard for them to accept that Magnus, a genius sword master and the best among them, had been crushed by just a single punch. It was unbelievable. Am I seeing things? The bastard won. Nathan's eyes widened. He could not believe what he saw. When Magnus had wielded his sword, he had thought that Dustin would certainly die. But it turned out that Dustin had given him the shock of his life. Oh my goodness! How did I get myself involved with a monster? Emily swallowed dryly, astonishment clear on her face. He crushed Magnus with just one move. Dustin is amazing. Vanessa was pleasantly surprised that she almost jumped for joy. She had been worried that Magnus would have killed Dustin. But by the look of things, she had been worried over nothing. It turns out that the handsome and helpful young man was a hidden expert. He's a monster. The disciples of Azure Mist exchanged looks of astonishment. None of them had thought that Dustin, whom they had assumed was a nobody, was so powerful. They now felt guilty and ashamed for their contempt toward him before. They had to admit that they had underestimated him. HMPH, this is nothing. If only you knew that he's the young grandmother, Abigail mumbled to herself, looking proud of Dustin. She felt honored to have such a mentor. You killed Magnus. We'll kill you. After collecting themselves, the disciples of Skycrane began shouting. They raised their swords and charged at Dustin. They knew that they would not be able to win against him in a 1-to-1 battle, so they attempted to overpower him with their numbers. Do not act recklessly. Just then, an old man with white hair descended from the sky. He delivered a palm strike through the air, straight at the ground. Boom! An immense surge of true energy in the shape of a palm burst out from his hand. It weighed down heavily upon the Skycrane disciples like a mountain. Bang! There was a loud explosion.